Hello cuties, welcome back, and if you're new here then hi, I'm Shavion, an emotional girly trying to navigate a numb world, but yeah, we're just gonna dive right in. Is it selfish for people to adjust to you? How often are you the one doing the adjusting, and what parts of yourself are repressed in the process? Those are questions I used to hide from while secretly looking up to characters and people who were labeled hard to please or difficult. I saw an image recently that said healing can look like swinging from one extreme to another as you learn to find balance, and I think that's where I am right now. I've grown to be an extremely lovable yet unlikable person. No matter how much whimsy I exist in and express, I don't think I'll ever be the easygoing person I come off as. I've legit been throwing people off since I was that tiny 3-year-old with the sweetest smile that would flick people off for fun. Somewhere along the way though, that eccentric girl inside of me learned that I was safer when I suppressed, which was only further validated by 2 out of 3 of my caregivers who said they simply didn't like me because I was weird. As a chronic people pleaser at the time, it was probably the worst thing that I could hear because the outside world only reinforced this idea of conforming, not even just to survive, but in order to be accepted into community. So for a while, I thought in order to be seen as worthy of love or success, I needed to play a role. But of course, suppression doesn't mean getting rid of something. So for years, there was so much stagnant energy building inside of me. It became difficult to differentiate from how the present moment was making me feel and what unpacked baggage I was carrying into each moment. It really wasn't until I started educating myself on our world history that I really got the courage to face myself. I began to realize that romantic love wouldn't save me, and the lack of wholeness in my being came from denying the other half of me. The one who gets overstimulated easily, pouts when things don't go her way, and keeps all of her notifications on silent. It's crazy because I used to feel evil for even thinking about showing up in this way due to my life not feeling like my own. I didn't think I could find success without kissing ass and playing the good girl. However, I've been pleasantly surprised since entering my mid-20s while fully embodying the spirit of not giving a fuck. So yeah, I want to talk about the rules to being a difficult person, and then I want to speak on being seen in that without guilt. This video isn't me encouraging you to make everyone's life around you miserable, but to stop being miserable by trying to live for everyone else.
Can't the sunlight destroy you?
Yeah, it hurts, but I kinda like it. Reminds me when I'd scrape my knees up as a kid and my mom would patch me up.
I feel like the whole difficult woman or difficult person archetype is literally just someone who doesn't care to meet societal expectations, because literally, if people pleasing work, they would be pleased by now. When you are people pleasing, you are quite literally lying to yourself and the people around you constantly, because you're making yourself show up when you don't have the energy to. I remember a lot of my darkest moments in life being spent taking care of other people, showing up for other people when I desperately wanted to ask for that in return, but I didn't want to bring them down even more. So I just kept it in, or I felt like they couldn't hold space for that side of me. I was already dealing with all of my emotions alone. So at that point, just be alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can quite literally do bad all by myself. But yeah, it was definitely difficult putting space between me and those connections because I had invested so much of my time. But freeing up that emotional space to invest in myself was honestly completely life-changing, because I was just really able to do what I needed for my mental health, do what I needed to heal from the experiences that I have gone through that I thought maybe talking to my friends would help me with. If I'm tapping into a younger Shay's perspective, I feel that because I was keeping so much of my trauma in when I was a kid, like I wouldn't talk to anybody about it. Once I got a little older and I finally started talking to my friends about it, I'm like, oh yes, like this is me healing, like this is me facing like my trauma. And I thought that that would really help me, but it really only made it worse. It made me feel more alienated because most of the times I would just be met by the fluoride stare. Like, damn, you really went through that. Yeah, I low-key need a hug right now. And they would just look uncomfortable as fuck when I would be crying. I'm just like, bro, like I'm even more traumatized. So again, taking all of that energy that I was putting into everybody else to please them, to make sure they're happy, to make sure that they never had to feel the things that I have felt in my life, taking all of that energy and pouring it back into myself is exactly what I need, and I'm sure it is exactly what a lot of us need. It's not about completely disregarding community, because again, once you start pouring into yourself and you start showing up as who you are without the mask, you will naturally start to attract people who will be able to hold you in the places that you need. But you really have to be intentional about going past just, normal Western therapy. And we talked about Western therapy on this channel. Check out that video if you want to listen to that. But you have to go even past that. You need to tap into somatic healing. You gotta tap into your spirituality. You gotta go beyond what's placed in front of you, and you can't always go for that low-hanging fruit, because it is rarely ever enough of what you need to fully nourish you. And once you start doing that, you'll notice that it's easier to stand up for yourself because you're growing your leg muscles, you getting stronger. You won't feel like you have to dim yourself. Like, on the other side of me not wanting to share my sadness with certain people, I felt like I couldn't share my happiness, my whimsy, my bubbliness with certain people because I had a big fear of making people feel envious or making them feel less than just because, I'm such a big person, or just because I'm being me. And so instead of being like, I don't give a fuck, I would shut it all down. I would suppress it all down. I would become very, very small to meet people where they were. And it's like, you can meet people where they are without abandoning yourself. And I don't know, I just feel like that is all so, so, so important to remember. Literally, never shrink yourself because someone feels inadequate beside you. You can't allow yourself to be easily swayed in this age of manipulation, because you will completely miss out on living your life.
Marceline, that's too distasteful.
Oh, you don't like that? Or do you just not like me?
I feel like when it comes down to dealing with the guilt, because it will come, it comes regardless of how extreme you are, moving away from your people pleasing. Some people go cold turkey, they just not answering the phone no more, they calling out of work whenever they want to, X, Y, and Z, and some people it's more of a gradual thing, you know what I'm saying? There's a certain time frame where you will accept calls. You will plan for more days off at work, to avoid burnout and stuff like that. But I feel like that guilt that comes with, existing and all that, comes from trying to suppress it, because the longer you live with that conformative mindset, the more neural pathways you create to automatically teach yourself to suppress. And so you really have to actively work to create new paths for yourself in your brain and through your habits, through your actions, through being intentional in each moment, catching yourself and allowing yourself to feel that guilt instead of just stuffing it in the back of your mind in hopes that it'll go away with time. When in reality, time can really only make things worse. Time doesn't always make things better, especially if you aren't catering to it, if you aren't actively nurturing it, healing it, giving it time, giving it space, giving it light, giving it air, giving it whatever it needs to be better. You really have to be active with that. So accept the guilt, right? And then what is this guilt showing me? This guilt is showing me, look at the distance between who I am in this moment and who I used to show up as. That guilt is the distance between me and that version of myself. That old version of myself didn't really need to feel guilt because she was out here doing everything for everyone at every time. But this new version of me does. She feels guilt because she is still learning how to be in this expression unapologetically. But then also that guilt is just a reminder that you are a good person and you do care. So I think really applauding yourself for still having a heart that is intact after, you know, feeling probably unappreciated and disregarded for many years. And the only way to really stand firm in your decision of being a difficult person and throwing away people pleasing is by setting those boundaries. Okay, journal, go to therapy, talk about what boundaries you need to set, like, and put them in motion. You got to get serious about what you need. And that's why I was bringing up the somatic healing in the earlier point, because if you do that, you can kind of exactly pinpoint what your body needs in order to feel safe, in order to feel regulated. You know, you really got to get that nervous system under regulation. You got to get it under control. Your nervous system has such a huge impact on your life and what, you know, you will end up manifesting. It is so important to just spend time sitting with it and seeing what it needs. You can only do that by setting boundaries. And if someone can't respect that or feels threatened by your boundaries, then that just speaks to them and their capacity to care for you. It may be their own lack of capacity for being able to set their own boundaries. I love the saying that people can only meet you as far as they've met themselves. And I love this because when I was younger, I feel like I already had jumped into the deep end of my emotions, and a lot of the people around me were still, I guess, like in that very like party surface level phase of life. And so I felt very isolated for a while. You know, I didn't understand why my needs felt so unreasonable, but they weren't unreasonable. I was just kind of ahead of my time. I was further along, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's like as much as you want to make excuses for other people, you got to be honest with yourself. You know, who's taking care of you while you're taking care of everybody else? And so when you start stepping into that and being difficult because you ain't taking shit from nobody, bask in your peace, okay? Do not let your dysregulated nervous system pull you back into chaos because that's what it's used to. No, bask in that peace. Bask in all that you have just had to do to even obtain this peace. Congratulate yourself, love yourself, make time for yourself, make time for your hobbies, make time for you and everything that it is that makes up you. Because the thing is, when you are healing yourself, you are still giving so much to the world. Because when you heal, the collective heals. You are directly tied to us. We are all so deeply connected. We are all so deeply connected. And you have to remember that. You are not moving in isolation.
I'm gonna poop my pants if Finn kills this guy instead of me!
I've honestly been in deep reflection about this channel lately. I keep seeing posts that says we need to know less about each other, or people who post their emotions online are weird. I was feeling quite dumb the past week or so, not gonna lie. But then I started to think about how little people have known each other up until this point, how isolating life can feel when no one around you seems to be having the same experience, and how most media and even celebrities are fabricated stories to get us to conform in some way. So, if sharing my raw emotions with strangers on the internet in hopes of inspiring someone and reminding them that they aren't alone makes people feel uncomfortable, oh well, I still choose to be seen. But yeah, that is all I have for y'all today. Ask for more, take up space, and be unapologetically you. If you're still here, then comment an orange emoji and let me know if you're related to anything I spoke on today. Subscribe if you haven't already and join our garden of cuties. If you enjoyed the video, then share it with someone you think may need to see it. Also, shout out to our members of the channel. You are all so appreciated. I also recently made my reflection guide that has about 30 journal prompts as well as a budget sheet available to all of our members for free. So check that out if you're interested. But yes, keep hyping the videos. I love you, cutie, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.